The Blind Tony Story, Book 7, Chapter 7. In the Bible, in the book of Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, God outlines the curses that he would send upon Israel if they chose to continue to disobey. It was very graphic, it was very specific, and very much like what I was going through at that point in time in my life. It says that in addition to having the earth turn into iron and the sky turn into bronze, that they would be hungry, thirsty, and that they would be beaten down and robbed. They would be unable to help their own children, and he would place iron chains of slavery around their necks, and they wouldn't be able to find success at anything that they tried. Wow. And that they would lose their minds and grope around and feel around like blind men, even in the sunlight. And that they would develop growths on their bodies that nobody would be able to heal. Wow. All because they didn't serve the Lord with gladness when the times were good. That's a very disturbing yet very interesting text. Anyway, I haven't talked much about the family lately, but Kim and I stayed in touch. And she in turn was my liaison with the rest of the family. The less they knew about my struggles, the better it was, for me anyway. Kim and I would have lunch together every Friday down by her job at the Mobile Corporation, 42nd Street and 5th Avenue. She would always give me a big manila envelope containing the latest New York Times bestsellers, 3 or 4 packs of Parliament 100 cigarettes, 3 or 4 lottery tickets, and a crisp $20 bill. This was a weekly ritual. And even when she couldn't meet with me, she would always leave that envelope with one of the security guards down at the front desk. One week, she told me that she had to move, so I agreed to help her the following weekend. It was a huge project, but everything went smoothly, and we spent the entire day together. In fact, we started spending more and more time together, especially on the weekends. But now she lived over an hour away from Manhattan by train. It was around this time that I started getting sick. Every day I got weaker and weaker, and eventually I started losing weight. Even the smell of food would make me sick, so I stopped eating, and I began to lose even more weight. My eyes developed a hypersensitivity to light, and it was hard for me to go outside in the daytime because of the sunlight. Eventually, I went from 175 pounds down to about 110 pounds. Wow. And I knew that something was very, very wrong. I was dying. Eventually, I went to Columbia Presbyterian Hospital at the emergency room, and their initial diagnosis was my worst nightmare come true. They said I had AIDS. Not the HIV virus, but full-blown AIDS. I was in shock. And then my shock turned into disbelief, and then my anger, and then my anger turned into fear, fear of death, fear of the unknown. I was terrified. I was told that it would take 2 more weeks before they could confirm the results without beyond any doubt. In the meantime, I was given drops from my eyes, a lot of heartfelt sympathy, and deep, deep dread about my future. I shared that news with Kim, and she too was scared. I cried a lot on her couch. And then I asked God every day, why? Eventually, that 2 weeks of waiting was over, and I received the news that I, in fact, did not have AIDS. And I wasn't even HIV positive. It was thought, however, that I had a disease called sarcoidosis, which is a respiratory and lung ailment, also incurable, which strikes primarily black men and Jewish people. I was referred to Harlem Hospital at 135th Street for additional testing because they were at the forefront of sarcoidosis research. The tests were run, and another period of waiting ensued. More time crying on Kim's couch and more whys for God. And Kim had contacted my brother Mike, and now he and I began talking about my future, or my lack of one. Finally, the day for the test results from Harlem Hospital came, and that too proved to be negative. By now, I was about down to about 110 pounds, and I could barely walk anymore. I had growths under my armpits the size of marbles, and I was finally diagnosed with lymphoma, a form of cancer. And I was referred to part of Columbia Presbyterian Hospital for the terminally ill. Now, this is a small, secluded part of the hospital on the other side, away from the Broadway side, where the normal people go. This is a small, secluded part around the corner, all the way at the other entrance. And I became part of a group of patients who were all terminally ill. We were short once a week to give blood and have our weight and vitals taken, and we would eat cookies and cakes and pastries, and gradually, one by one, we would die off. Every week I would see the missing faces of those who didn't survive that week and meet the new faces of people just joining the group. I knew that one of these weeks I too would be joining the ranks of the missing. I was given an MQ-11 form, medical questionnaire number 11, given to the terminally ill, so that you can take it to the Department of Social Services and be placed on total disability. Then Social Services will get you a place to live, pay your rent, utilities, buy your food, furniture, give you cash, and everything else that you need, because they know you're about to die. They even give you travel vouchers so that you can catch cabs wherever you want to go. But if a doctor gives you an MQ-11 form, you're through. You're through. The growths under my armpits and in my groins now were now like golf balls. And I was told that surgery would be necessary. I told the doctor that I was still smoking crack every day. And I asked him if I should stop. But he said at this point in time, it's not going to make any difference one way or another. Do whatever makes you comfortable. That's what he told me. That was the worst thing he could have told me. He also told me that I would never play tennis again. The morning for the surgery came, and after I came out of the pre-op where they shave you and stuff, I asked the nurse if I could smoke a cigarette, and I was told that I had to go out in the hallway. So I went out in the hallway, and I started thinking, and I just left the hospital, still in the surgical gown. And I caught a cab back to Gregorio's building and got high. I cried out to God from the depths of my heart. And I went from the physical to the metaphysical, from the tangible to the intangible, from that which can be seen to that which can't be seen, from prognosis to faith, from doctor to God. And now, over 25 years later, I'm alive and well and doing fine. I have a healthy appetite. I love to play tennis, and I weigh every bit of 195 pounds. God is good, even when we're not. I tore up that NQ11. The doctor called Kim and also sent a telegram to her telling her that surgery was not only necessary, it was crucial, and if I didn't get it, I wouldn't last another 30 days probably. Kim called Mom and Dad, and the entire family traveled to New York. We spent a beautiful day together. They all got to meet Gregorio, the super, at the building where I primarily stayed at. But I made it clear to all that I was going to die the same way I lived, and I refused to get cut. Everybody I knew who ever got cut for cancer, they never improved. They never recovered. The cancer always spread, and they always died. My family hated it. They didn't like it, but they acquiesced to my wishes. Then the lymph nodes went from golf ball size to the size of grapefruits. And I spent every night in fervent prayer. I asked God to please, please, please give me another chance. I promise you. If you just give me another chance, I'll do everything your way. And then a funny thing happened. I started to get better. God is good. God listens.